For these questions, we're going to write mixed numbers as improper fractions. Remember, a mixed number is just a number that includes a whole number and a fraction. So we're going to write that as an improper fraction. An improper fraction is just a fraction where the numerator is larger than the denominator. And improper fractions always represent a value greater than 1. So for these problems, we can look at these mixed numbers, but before we start changing them into improper fractions, let's look and see what we know and learn a little bit first. So 17/5 is an improper fraction. It represents a value greater than 1. It also has a numerator that's bigger than the denominator. If we did the division in disguise, we would see that if we divide 17 by 5, we get 3 wholes and a remainder of 2 parts. So if we wrote that as a fraction, we would have our mixed number 3 2/5. 17/5 is exactly the same as 3 2/5. Even though mixed numbers and improper fractions are the same thing, they do have a difference, and let's look at those differences. Improper fractions focus on the parts. So for 17/5, that's 17 parts. The fifth just shows how many go together to make one whole. So if improper fractions focus on the parts, mixed numbers focus on the wholes. So it takes all those 17 parts and it puts them together 5 at a time, since the denominator is 5 and the denominator represents how many pieces are in one whole. So if we look at the mixed number, we can see that it's 3 2/5, just like we found when we did our division problem. How do we get from our mixed number that we made, 3 2/5, what if we want to go the other way? We want to go from 3 2/5 to an improper fraction. Well, everything you need to know is right here in the mixed number. The whole number tells you how many whole groups there are. Since this is a 3, we have 3 wholes. The denominator, 5, tells you how many pieces are in one whole. In one whole, there are 5 pieces. So that means there are 3 wholes with 5 pieces each. Plus, remember that remainder of 2? They're right here in the next hole that we're working on filling up. It's not filled up yet, but we do have 2 pieces here. So this 3 represents how many holes. This 5 represents the number of pieces in one hole, and the 2 represents the leftovers. So to take this mixed number and to make it an improper fraction, just think about 3 holes with 5 pieces each. So 3 times 5 is 15, plus the 2 leftovers. If you add them together, you have 17 pieces. And remember, improper fractions focus on the pieces or the parts. The denominator, though, is still going to be 5. The denominator doesn't change because there's still 5 pieces in one whole, and the denominator represents the pieces in one whole. So if we take this mixed number 3 2/5, the improper fraction that's equivalent is 17/5. This one is more concerned about how many holes there are, and this one is more concerned about how many parts there are. So let's use this understanding to answer some more of these questions. We have 5 1/6. So I have a model here that shows 5 holes and then 1/6 more. So to find the improper fraction, we need to find the number of pieces. We know it's still going to have a denominator of 6, though. The denominator doesn't change because there's always going to be 6 pieces in one whole. So to find the number of pieces, we could count up all the pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, but that would take forever. So what we do is count up first the pieces that are in the holes by doing multiplication. We have 5 holes and there are 6 pieces in each hole. So we have 30 pieces represented here, plus 1 more. So we have 31 pieces, and that becomes your numerator, 31/6. So let's look at another one. On number 2, we have 1 2/3. So here's a model showing 1 whole and 2/3. So we're going to write the improper fraction, but remember the improper fraction is focused on the pieces. So we could easily just count the pieces here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that would be our numerator. Or we can think we have 1 whole with 3, so 1 times 3 is 3, plus we have 2 more pieces, and that's how we also could get our 5. Your denominator is still going to be 3 though, because there are still 3 pieces in one of the wholes. So for number 3, we have 4 4/5. So if we look at our model, we see that we have 4 wholes and then 4/5 more. So to find the number of pieces, what we can do is just think about how many pieces are in the wholes. So we have 5 and 1, so 5 times 4 is 20. Plus, we still have the leftovers, the remainder of 4. So our numerator is going to be 24. And our denominator isn't going to change. It's still going to be 5 because there are still 5 pieces in one whole. So now we're going to look at the rest of them without the models, because you aren't going to always have a model to count up the pieces. So what you need to realize is this number right here represents the number of wholes, and this piece right here represents the pieces in one whole. So if we have one whole with 5 pieces, we have those 5 pieces already. And this number represents the remainders. So we have 5 plus 3 more, which is 8. And the denominator never changes. So 1 3/5 would be 8/5 as an improper fraction. So for number 5, we have 3 wholes and each whole has 5 pieces. So 3 times 5 is 15 plus the remainder. So that's 15 plus 3 would be 18. And the denominator doesn't change. And let's do one more. This time we have 5 wholes and each whole has 5 pieces. So in the wholes we have 25 pieces. Plus these 2 more make 27. So the improper fraction is 27/5. Some people use a little trick to help them remember, and it's called making the mixed number mad. And how it works is you first multiply. So you start at the bottom, and we're going to go around the circle and counterclockwise. So you start at the bottom, and you're going to multiply 5 times 5, and in your head, remember 25. Next is A for add, so you're going to go back that way, and you are going to add 3. So you had 25, and 3 more is 28. So you would write 28. And the D stands for the denominator, and the denominator never changes. All right, you try some on your own, and if you need help, you can come back and rewatch the video. Good luck!